Welcome back to the Marathon Mortgage Happy Hour. I'm Mike Witzak.
My name is Rory Farrell.
And today we have...
Alex Penn with Keller Williams in Devon.
Hey, there it is. Okay.
Usually someone's like, oh, my name's Alex Penn. We're like, where are you from? What do you do? You nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for coming in all the way in from Manayunk.
Hey.
Been wanting to have you on for a while. We get along well. We've known each other for a long time. It turns out we didn't even realize when we first met in the real estate world.
Soccer.
Yeah,
15, 20 years ago.
Been wanting to get you on, so I appreciate it. Let's get right into it. Let's just start how you started in the industry, kind of what were you doing before? How did it lead you into this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into it during COVID. Prior to COVID, I was a personal trainer.
Okay.
And I was in the process of figuring out how to switch to real estate. And COVID happened, shut down all the gyms, and pushed me into the real estate right away.
Whoa. I didn't know that.
So yeah, I started with a small team in Keller Williams in the Philadelphia office. Was there for about a year, and they just fed me a bunch of leads. I worked those leads and got really, really busy the first year in COVID. And after that, I figured out maybe I wanted to be at a different team. And so I switched over to Compass. I was there for a year.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
so-
when we connected, I think, for the first time.
Exactly. And that was, again, a really, really good experience. As you're switching teams, you're getting paid a little bit more. You're starting to figure out, what your value is. And once you start getting a couple sales behind you, people generally want to bring you on. So it was completely different. And then after that, I decided, hey, I want to be a solo agent. I want to get, most of the money that seeing on the settlement sheets. I want that in my bank account. And I also just kind of wanted to do things my way and have control over my things. So, I've been a solo agent for 3.5 years now.
Yeah. And you like that better than being on a team?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's great.
It was as good as you thought it was going to be? Or
It
better
is,
than
but the problem is you have to do every little thing, right? So what ends up happening is you get transaction managers, you start giving away some of the money, and every problem though always rests on your shoulders, and every win also rests on your shoulders.
Yeah.
That's the fun side of it.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine. Now, how do you go about getting a lot of you're not being like fed leads like you were on a team. So is a lot of your stuff person to person or?
Yeah. So what I did first 2 years on the teams, I was, being fed leads. I was working leads. When I went solo, I started buying leads through realtor.com.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for the last 3 years. This past November, I stopped buying leads. They just were getting too expensive, and what I was getting weren't
the
really leads
ROI
anymore.
Yeah.
So I said,
I've worked a couple of those ones that you sent my way. I totally understand. I mean, that's not you. That's
it's
almost all realtor.com Zillow they're just like,
yeah, and it just became, it just was like I kind of got burned out, right? You're calling people, they're talking to all these other agents, you're losing, deals. Sometimes you're getting wins. So, that's basically what I started doing. And today I'm doing a lot of, past clients have closed, 150 plus deals. So I reach out to them, they give me referrals. I will probably circle back with leads at some point when prices go back down, but it's just so
on the buy
expensive
side,
to
it's
do.
so tough right now.
Yeah. I mean, when I started as a solo agent, I was paying, $250 a month on leads. And, this past year we were paying between a lender and myself, $1,500, a month. So it's a lot, right? You can close one deal, you break even, but if you have a couple.
Yeah, that means you're getting 12 deals a year from a garbage pile.
And, but I was getting anywhere from 10 to 12 deals closed every year. So it definitely covered it.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got referrals off of those. But, we started getting to the point of $100 a month. I just said,
what else could you be doing with that money? Like, and who knows, but could it be like targeted marketing? You just keep it. They're just so tough. And what I was going to say is like you and there's a couple other people that I work with and that I know that when they went off solo, I was like, they're going to be fine because they're organized, they communicate, they hustle on leads. Like they do things the right way. And you were one of them. So when you switched over, I'm like, all right, cool. Other people I would not. And it shows too, you go off and because you see the dollar signs and then you don't see them ever again.
Too, it's anything that I'm kind of doing. I'm kind of like, all right, how can I do this better? How can I make this smoother? How can I make a shortcut? I try to look for those things and make it really efficient and, that's what I do.
Yeah. And I consider it a value. I consider it a bonus for you, but you're very like straight to the point. Like you don't fuck around. Like if someone's wasting your time, you're like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? And you answer questions honestly, even if people like on the buy side don't want to hear that answer. Like I've been on conversations in text with you before.
Listen, I in the beginning, you take everything. It doesn't matter. It's about kind of honing your skills. And today, if you don't want to get a pre-approval, but you want to see houses, then I'm not the agent for you.
Yep.
Right. So there's different degrees of things I'm willing to put up with and not put up with.
100%. Couldn't agree with that more.
Mike's
I'm at that stage in my career now where I'm starting to tell people like, all right, I don't know what to tell you anymore.
Well, here's the other thing too with you guys. So I don't know if you and I have run into this situation, but if somebody doesn't want to work with a lender, one of my recommended lenders, and we want to bring a stranger into the conversation, I typically pull the plug on that just because I do not want to, there's deposit money that's at risk. Yep. The loan needs to close on time. If we don't have a solid
paid
team
for your inspections, paid for your appraisal.
Yeah, I mean, you can waste so much money running around, and if we don't get a good qualification, it also hurts us getting the deals, right? If you see something that says, I don't know, Rocket Mortgage, I look at those and go, it's not as good as a Marathon or another company, right?
And you look at it from both ends because you do a ton of listings as well. You do a lot of cash, but like you're not going to accept a Rocket Mortgage.
Not if I don't have to.
Yeah, if you don't have to. Yeah, exactly. But that was one of the things. I have a couple notes here I want to talk to you about. But one of the things is, and you've done this a couple times, but you've recently put out, maybe not recently now, but just a post, a reel like, hey, these are the mortgage lenders that I like working with. There's a reason. This is why. Mm-hmm. If you're not working with someone like this, you're not going to get a house under contract. I forget exactly what you said, but it was something along the lines of like, hey, this is the ground I'm standing on. Like you need to work not necessarily with my guys, but with someone bona fide.
All of the buyers and all the sellers, everybody deserves top service. So why would you accept anything less? I'm giving you, 4 or 5 options here. Reach out to them. Some are going to be better lenders than others for everybody's situation.
Yeah,
but
for
the
sure.
point is I'm doing the legwork for you. We work together as a team. There aren't any hidden fees or any, compensation between us for using it.
Yep.
You just simply get the best service that you can get.
Yeah, and if you're giving them, like my argument with a lot of realtors, like here's my guy.
Yep.
It's fine. One guy, if he's good, but he's not going to get along with everyone. He's not going to be able to have all the niche products that someone else might have. It's like if you can give 2 to 3 solid mortgage people, realtors in general, let them pick. Like if you know that no matter who they come back with, you're going to be happy with, let them pick, because there's some people that we just might not get along with, or we might not have the product that they need or whatever the case is. So
exactly.
But yeah, no, you're very good at that. There's a couple realtors that are good at that. Some are better than others, but you're one of the people. All right, what else I got for you?
You jotted down notes.
I took notes because I was literally thinking as I was getting ready this morning. I was like, I got to ask him about that.
This is all new stuff to me.
Lenders making videos about it. Oh, okay. That's kind of how you vetted me too, I think, in the beginning. I don't know if you remember this, but we had coffee one time. We met way back. We played soccer together, middle school.
That didn't occur to me though. I remember looking through
I didn't
on
either.
Instagram, and I went, didn't I know somebody named Rory?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's not a lot of Rorys out there. So
no.
But we didn't even figure that out till we eventually met up for coffee.
And then I started looking at your photos, and I'm like, he had blonde hair. It kind of looks right. And then
The age makes sense.
And then we figured it out. So
we played soccer for a couple of years. I was actually just looking through old newspaper clippings. My mom gave me this book from her house that was like a scrapbook.
Yep.
And there was a bunch of stuff from the Keystone Kicks. But sidebar. So anyway, we knew each other way long ago, and then we somehow connected via Instagram. I don't remember how that happened. I probably reached out to you, and you got back to me. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I think what you said when we had coffee, you're like, I just wanted to see if you were responsive, or I just wanted to see if you followed through on that.
Yeah,
and that's,
I'm sure you guys. I don't know if it's the same way for agents reaching out to lenders, but lenders are constantly reaching out to agents.
Oh, agents don't reach out to us.
But the thing is,
Rarely.
It's not even the lender; it's their virtual assistant reaching out. The same thing. We've heard great things about you, and so wants to meet you, and I'm like,
red flag number 1. Yeah,
I'm out. Right. So when somebody actually reaches out that is involved with the process, and it is actually the person, one, you're already above all the VAs, right?
Yeah.
And then if you just follow up, it's a very low bar. Right? It's the same thing with agents. I feel like
really
there's a
is
really
a
low bar to be very good at real estate because most people aren't doing the things they should be doing.
We feel the same way.
You'd think.
Well, the problem is
so,
the bar is low, but for some reason, a lot of realtors don't realize that. You're like, why are you sending business to this bozo over here? He can't even call you back.
Well, it's simple things. You'll put in the notes. I have an offer. Send it to me in PDF form. I don't want it all at once through DocuSign, whatever it is, right? Yeah. You have an offer and I have a listing, and then all of a sudden, things are being texted to me. It's coming over in multiple emails. Stuff is missed, and I'm just
it's a JPEG.
I'm like, what's going on here? And then I have to call the lender. I always like it when the lender, so, simple things. If you have somebody, the lender calls, the buyer's, the listing agent and says, hey, I'm so-and-so, you're above.
I know.
Right? And it's such simple little things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish it meant more to more
most
realtors.
agents, most lenders don't do that, right?
Yeah.
I'm putting together a reel right now, and I'm basically saying, hey, if your lender doesn't do this, if your lender doesn't do this, if your lender doesn't do this, and you're a realtor recommending this lender, like, what are we doing here? It's simple stuff, but it's like showing up at settlement, calling the listing agent, seeing if you can get an appraisal waiver before an offer goes in, like all just little things.
All the little things that people aren't doing, which are really, really simple things. I think it was funny. You and I were working on a deal in Manayunk. We submitted the offer. We didn't get the offer. But the seller, who was also the agent, called me and said, that was a really nice trick having the lender call me. I said, nice trick. I'm like, and this guy's been in the business for, 5+ years. I'm
wild.
like, he's never run into this situation.
That's so crazy. I called.
like we're
nice
tricking
trick.
you into.
I'm like, it's not it. He thought it was pretty smooth. I was like, this is just the standard that.
Who's his lender? Because I want to know who that guy is.
I don't know.
Yeah. Who's the agent? We'll call him.
Yeah, we'll call him.
Okay.
He won't call us back.
Yeah.
I won't say anything.
But no, it was funny because you set the tone up front. Like, you're like, hey, yeah, you responded, you followed through, you made an appointment, we got coffee, you showed up, like you were organized, like whatever. Like, it doesn't take much. And then from then on, I was like, oh, that's interesting that he noticed that, because that's how we operate all the time. But not a lot of realtors won't realize.
Yeah, I
that.
mean, if I'm gonna give you somebody, right? I have expectations for it. The expectations are, just if it's a waste of time, no problem, but let me know. Yeah. I do not want to follow up with you. I'd rather have you follow up with me or check in and say, hey, I tried to call them 3 times. They didn't answer. That's fine. And there's people that I'll test. I'll give them a lead, and then I've got to follow up with them. After I follow up with the lender 3 times about the lead I gave them, I said I should have just been calling the client directly, and maybe I should be a lender.
Yeah.
Because this person doesn't want to do the deal.
Yeah. You got to do a lot more deals per year to make the same amount of money as the lender. And then the other funny thing, and we don't have to get too deep into the details, but I've never had to fire a client except for one that we both fired.
Oh,
and that goes to show you, like, it takes us a lot to be pushed, but at the same time, if it's just something who, like, you're not listening, you're not, following the steps.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I have fired
fired many people. Yeah.
That,
maybe not many, but
enough.
I know exactly which client you're talking about.
Yeah. I'll have to show you downstairs. I printed out his last text to me, and I made it look like a Zillow review.
I know. There are expectations, right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm commission only.
Yeah.
Right. So when I'm going out and showing somebody a house, or I'm putting effort into it, right? It's not that I expect to be paid, but I do have an expectation that I'm going to be treated a certain way. And when the boundaries are crossed, people are late for showings, bad emails, text messages, disrespectful behavior, ghosting me, whatever it is, let's be an adult. If you don't want a house anymore, you're putting on hold, you're going with somebody else, let's have some communication around that. And for whatever reason, I think that happens to me a lot, where I don't get that fair stuff. And, on my side of things too, I have expectations. If I'm not able to help you, I'm not going to pretend like I can and put myself in that situation.
Well, the thing is, I think it just comes down to like how would you treat a normal human being? You know what I mean? Like, would you, if you were going to be late to go hang out with your friends, would you text your friends and be like, hey, I'm going to be 10 minutes late?
Yeah.
Just because I'm a realtor working with you or working for you, like, you don't get to just not show up and not tell me about it. You know what I mean?
Especially because they haven't paid you for anything yet.
Yeah.
The longest I've waited for a showing is 2 hours.
No way.
I'm not even kidding around. And how do you think that went? Well, we finally did get under contract, and he ended up not responding to me or the lender. He forfeited the deposit, and I don't know what he purchased ever since. And I was like, you can't make this up. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I say you said
but I knew at the beginning the 2 hours was the red flag. I did not,
Yeah.
But that might have been it might have been earlier in your career.
That could have been it, right? It was.
But you said, oh, maybe it happens to me more than others. I don't think it does. I think other people just don't stand up for themselves. Like, other people are like, oh, fuck it, I'll deal with it. Or like, oh, they'll come around. And like, at the end of the day, like, your time's super valuable. And if you can be doing other things to build business instead of waiting around for 2 hours at a listing,
And I know we can find you a house, or we can sell the house, right? So, but we need cooperation to do that. Mm-hmm. And, it's how it works, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. How do you feel like the new contract that all these buyers need to sign now, is that working in your favor now because you can't get ghosted as much, or is it something that's kind of a pain in the ass?
Yeah, so coming into August, I know everybody was panicking last year when they figured out we had to sign these things. I traditionally was not getting them signed in the beginning, full transparency.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I think a lot of people probably.
Keller
Oh,
Williams.
yeah, I think a lot of people probably. Aren't,
And
I know agents now who are not getting them signed.
yeah, and you should. It's $1,000 fine, and then if you get caught the second time,
Yeah.
you end up losing access to MLS, which is that's the end of your business. That being said, I'm not sure how it's being enforced. So the way I'm doing it now is I created an email to clarify what was going on. So anybody I was talking to, which at the time a lot of them are realtor.com leads, they don't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And the email would basically describe how I get paid, why this is taking effect. I also make it really clear I do a test drive showing. So that's like a 1-day showing, right? Or whatever the houses are we're seeing. After that, if we're going to move forward together, we sign a longer term contract.
Right.
We can do 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And I got news. I mean, I don't always want to be in contract with some of these people after you meet them. Like,
Can you break that
thing.
contract? Are you allowed to?
Well, I mean, it's the expectations are, again, you don't know who you're showing up with sometimes with realtor.com leads, right?
Yeah.
So, if it's a referral, you're good to go. But you do want to keep that in mind, right? So it does go both ways.
Yeah.
But the long story short is like you just sign it. You say why it's happening and how you get paid and you call it a day. And if they don't want to sign it, then they're probably working with other people or they're not committed. And then you got your answer that it probably
then you didn't waste your time.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I just had one where it was referred a client, got them pre-approved. They were out running around, had a house under contract, the whole thing. It was earlier in the year. So it had to be this year. So anyway, had a house under contract, didn't like the way that agent worked, ended up getting referred to another one of my agents randomly. So came back to me, and then that agent was like, "Oh, I'm glad they're already working with you." It actually worked out really nicely because it made me look like, "Oh, I'm in, I'm around, I'm doing business," which I am. And I was like, "Oh, just an FYI, they had a house under contract with another realtor. Just, I don't know how that works on your end. I just wanted you not to get burned." And the client ended up being like, "Oh yeah, they never even made me sign anything." And they were under contract, so.
Yeah, that was but I think a lot of clients aren't paying attention, right? You get anywhere from 12 to 15 things when you're signing an offer, disclosures and all this stuff. And it's just, at some point it goes click, 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 click,
Yeah.
right? So I always try to explain, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're signing. Here's how I get paid. Quick summary of the offer and, really make sure people understand.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it happens with you guys too. It's,
People don't look at any of our applications that they sign, rarely,
exactly.
or any of the paperwork they sign at settlement for the most part. But
I know you just assume, all right, what's the price? I can pay it off in 30 years and I can pay it off early.
And that also goes back to like building trust though, and like working with a client, like building that relationship. Like I'm hoping that at settlement day, they don't need to look through everything because it's all standard document. And I've built trust over the past 30, 60, 90 days or whatever it's been working with them. So,
Yep.
All right. So that's call work stuff. Let's get into like more fun stuff. What are you into? I know you're into fitness, obviously.
Yep.
You're a huge traveler, which we've done these podcasts that's supposed to be about real estate and ended up just turning into a travel podcast before. And then cars. And he's a big car guy. Yeah. So what are you into?
Well, you pretty much summed it up. So I do like to work out. I like to stay active. Do anything from mountain biking to weightlifting to there's something called paddle, which is a form of kind of racquetball.
Yeah. Is it similar? What's the new one? Pickleball? Is it similar to that a little bit?
It's like if you were going to combine tennis and racquetball, but use a pickleball paddle, that would be paddle.
So it's a racket
All
sport.
right. It's a European thing. It happens to be at my gym.
What type of, you use like a hard ball?
It's almost like a
racquetball?
tennis ball.
Oh, it's like a tennis ball.
But it's a specific, it says paddle on it. So
Yeah.
I guess it's a little bit different, but to me it looks like a tennis ball.
Fair enough.
So I used to watch it at the gym, and I was watching these guys, and I go, I guess they're playing pickleball, but I don't know why they're playing with a tennis ball.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing them hit it off the wall, and I go, well, that's definitely not pickleball. And then eventually I tried it with my wife, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I try to play that.
Anytime you can find something that's fun to work out.
Yeah, it keeps you moving, right?
Yeah, like working out, going to the gym's fine. You do it because you had to, but like I play soccer and it's like that's a great workout, and I'm doing something fun.
Yep, exactly. So that's some of the stuff I do on the the exercise front. I do like cars, so I try to go to car shows, go to Cars and Coffee.
Oh yeah.
I go to a racetrack in New Jersey called New Jersey Motorsports Park
Yep.
and do track days.
Yeah, been there. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we just did a go-kart event, which was
Oh, that's fun.
cool.
That's
So
cool.
I invite maybe we try to get 15 total people, And then usually, there's a key 5 or 6 that stay, and then, the rest either get in accidents, crashes, figure out they're not.
Do you
that
own your
interested
own
in it.
go-karts?
No, they rent them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can rent it out for 2 hours, and
Yeah.
it's basically.
There's a
$130
huge one in
a person.
Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one you guys
That's
go to?
it.
Yeah.
Well, now that I have your number, I'll.
Oh yeah. Let me know.
Oh, that's right
We're
up
always
his alley.
looking for people.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I'd go in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets really competitive, and nobody likes to lose, but and there's always like the slow person that thinks they're way faster than everybody.
Oh yeah.
But they're not. So
It's like real life Mario Kart.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then I like to travel. I mean, I would say that I like the cars. The working out stuff. My wife's a big traveler. So
Okay.
5.5 years ago, she's been to probably 70 plus countries at this point. I'm coming up on 20.
Yeah, I remember you
70s.
showing.
I mean,
Putting in
she goes to a
work.
couple countries a year at a minimum.
Damn.
Yeah.
70s work. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And when did you? I mean, this is about you, but when did she start traveling? Like
She's
chicken
always
was off.
been a traveler, I think.
Yeah, because that takes. I mean, it just takes time.
Yeah.
70 countries takes time.
Yeah, I
Very
mean, she
country-
does. At this point, it's really ratcheted up. I think in the beginning it was like, I'll go backpack Europe.
Yeah.
And then I do 1 or 2 a year. But now I feel like she's going to the She went to the Baltics recently and knocked out like 4 in a row. She's just taking a van and going
that's
and
like a
doing
cool
it right. And I
taking
know
the
she
van.
just went to Sweden. So she's done at least 5 so far this year.
Yeah.
We're going to Greenland in a couple weeks.
You don't need a
I
passport for that anymore.
No. Yeah.
Don't we own that?
It's gonna be strange going. Like you travel to places that we're kind of politically in conflict with.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes a little awkward. We'll say we're
It's-
Canadian.
It's
or something.
the
Yeah, right.
It's the first question. Everywhere I go, it's the first question.
Because he's a big traveler
Do
too. but-
you have any guns, and what are your thoughts on Trump? Do you know
Yeah,
Trump? I'm like,
yeah.
no, I don't know Trump. You asked
Yeah.
me if I know Trump for
I know.
like, the fuck?
I know.
Yeah, people are always asking that stuff. But damn,
What-
70's crazy. I'm so curious.
We've all been to Japan.
Yeah.
So he's been recently. You've been recently in the past year or two.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Japan.
But didn't you go for? This is why I think you guys will get along. Didn't you go for specifically a car race or something?
So my wife, she specifically loves. I don't want to say loves traveling solo, but she does a lot of solo trips.
Yeah.
And she says it changes her, and she learns a lot around it. Right. So 2 years ago, I woke up and it was like the middle of June, and I'm like, I'm so burnt out. I'm like, how am I gonna get through this year? I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so I just went on the computer. I looked up Japan. I knew I wanted to see an F1 race in person. So I booked a trip to Japan to see an F1 race, my first F1 race.
Fuck. Where was the F1 race?
It was in Suzuka.
Which is like nowhere
Yeah,
near, like
yeah.
not nowhere near, but it's not like a place you would go.
No.
Tourist-wise.
I mean, the closest F1 race around here is Montreal or Miami,
Oh,
or you can
okay.
go to Texas. But I'm like, all right, I want to go. Let me just get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. So I booked it. My wife was super excited. I was excited for it. But then, you get over there, Japan. You're traveling solo. I've never really been in a country where English. Let's just say you can't even see it on the writing, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And so everything was a puzzle trying to figure out how to go here. I'm looking, but I don't understand. Luckily, everybody was really nice and
Yeah.
kind of helped me. But, I was renting a car and, I parked the car. And then at one point, my battery died on the car. So then I had to call AAA. Their version of AAA out there.
Whoa.
It actually was easier than calling our version of
Really?
AAA, even though it was in a different language.
Because they're respectful and they
Yeah,
show
they
up on time.
Yeah, it was one of the most peaceful places you could go to. Right?
Yeah, by far.
Everybody's very orderly, which I love order.
Yeah,
right?
I could tell,
I didn't
yeah.
hear anybody honking. There wasn't any trash around. I didn't even see any trash cans.
You would
because-
hate Vietnam. You would hate Vietnam. That's where I was. I was in Vietnam for like the whole month of February, and that's all it is trash and honking.
It was
Crash
cool.
and honking and
Yeah.
Dead carcasses everywhere. Like there's
When we were at, this is a perfect example. When we were at the F1, when I was at the F1 race,
yeah.
people line up along the fence to hold your spot along the fence. You just put a piece of paper down, and that's your spot, or a pad or a chair, and they just walk away. Right?
And no one kicks it over, throws
nobody
it
would
over
kick
the
it over,
fence.
throw it over, steal it, walk
yeah.
away with it, right? And I just was like, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
So cool.
Yeah. It's such like a relaxed.
And how was
place.
did the race live up to what you expected or wanted to be?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was at a different it was at a different time than it usually was. So it was really, really hot. The
Those
cars
places.
were going as fast as I thought they were, even
Yeah.
faster.
Were you on like a straightaway?
I was on a place called the Spoon Curve,
Oh yeah.
which I mean, right on the corner where they're kind of coming in and turn, and they just turn, and you're just like, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah, it's insane.
And you don't really. You get this perspective where there's Porsches racing around in between races. So the first cars I went, oh, they're going pretty fast, but it wasn't that fast. And I'm like, how much faster could an F1 car go? Well, like 3 times as fast is the answer. And that's at least what it looked like.
I mean, yeah, no, they're psychotic. Those
Yeah.
people, yeah,
Yeah.
they're going. I mean, on the straightaways, they have to be going over 200 miles an hour, and
I
then
know.
they just downshift to like second gear, and
Yeah, they just stop and
Cut
then
a turn.
they're gone.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so
so
wild.
yeah, so I do enjoy. I think I enjoy traveling and kind of combining the F1 races.
yeah, you got to go to Monaco. I was just talking to somebody about that. I was like,
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Monaco to check that out.
You know, the problem with the Monaco race though is that it's qualifying that matters. The race itself, you can't pass, you can't do anything, and you know.
I guess the race itself, if you're actually there to watch the F1 race, it's not that exciting for
Yeah.
you because, like you said, it's just
It's like who
you can't do
qualified
anything.
first is probably going to win.
Yeah.
But you know, again,
I
you
just
gotta
I
check
think
it
for
out.
like the bougie experience of going
Yeah.
to Monaco for F1 would be nuts.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we have. So I think FIFA's coming in this weekend, right?
yeah,
Oh, is it Yeah, I
I
forgot.
think that's
Damn,
this weekend. You know, when you go and see soccer overseas, it's different typically than you see it in the United States.
yeah.
Right?
Even
So
if it's the overseas team.
Yeah, exactly. So if you
the-
go see F1 anywhere outside of the country, it's popular here, but it's even more popular
Yeah, yeah.
Everywhere
outside of-
else.
You know, outside of here. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Japan is gnarly though. What do you think your favorite country you've been to?
I was saying,
Japan.
Was
Yeah.
it Japan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
And then I liked Bora Bora. So that
Yeah,
was,
that's
that's
a
French
different-
Polynesia, but that's like, you know, your best island. That's the spot to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Takes, you know, 16 hours to get
What do you
there.
think your wife's favorite country is?
I hope it's Japan.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. I think she's been to Japan multiple times. She doesn't usually repeat countries. So
Well, that's
the
a good
other thing.
indication. Yeah.
Yeah. So everywhere that I go with her is, you know, there's a lot
Yeah.
of places she's been that I'd want to go,
Yeah.
but
You got to go solo now.
we got to go different places.
Yeah, that's my big thing is like I would almost all the countries I've been to, I'm like, I don't really have to go back to that country. Like I'll go somewhere else except for Japan. Japan's the only one I'm like, yeah, I'll
Well,
get on
there-
another 16-hour flight.
There are so many different spots and islands, and you know, I don't know where you went. I went to Kyoto, Tokyo. I think we were in. I was in a spot called, I think, Nagoya. So like I've gone to Kyoto twice now, and I could go back there and just hang out. That was my favorite spot.
That's so.
Yeah, everybody
like,
loves Kyoto. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just so chill there too. Like everyone's like nice, kind, orderly in Tokyo, but it's crazy. Like there's so many people there. It's crazy and it's
Yeah.
fast paced.
Yeah.
But you go to Kyoto and you just feel
Well, it's like that architecture, right? And
Yeah.
It feels like you're in Japan. It's completely different. And then
In like
go to
580.
Tokyo, and Tokyo is like, it could be, you know, Times Square in New York.
on
It's
steroids.
cool,
Yeah.
but
It's like, now, did you go to Osaka at all or no?
I think we were there for one night, and we kind of just drove through it.
Okay,
So
okay.
This last time I went, we were on the way to the Philippines, so we used it as like a stop to kind
Yeah.
of break up the trip. And,
Nice.
I didn't
Philippines are
explore
supposed
as
to be
much.
beautiful too, huh?
It was really nice, bunch of little islands. I
Yeah.
was told maybe 7,000 little islands
Yeah.
together.
Indonesia is similar to that too.
Yeah.
It's like thousands of islands.
Yeah.
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 So where's your bucket list? Like, or do you? I'm sure you already have something planned coming
Yeah.
up.
I mean, we're doing Greenland in July 5th. We leave for that.
Oh, so it's like
so
soon.
that's kind of
a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's only a couple hours away. Did you
Next
know that?
next Saturday.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, you're at Fourth of
We're
July weekend.
gone. So we're,
Yeah,
it's gonna-
what-
that we're going to be at going from hundreds to a high of maybe 40,
Yeah.
45.
And you're going to Greenland, not Iceland.
No, my wife's been to Iceland.
So she wants to go to Greenland.
So
Interesting.
so we're gonna go to Greenland. It was kind of, you know, why not? So
Well,
there's going to be hiking and dog
I was
sledding
gonna say, what
and stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
Northern Lights.
We're not in the right time.
Okay, too much summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's going to be 24 hours of daylight, is my understanding.
wild.
Or
Yeah.
something close to it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
That's gonna
in-laws
be
were just in Alaska, and they it was like 11:30 at night, and they sent pictures. It was like bright out. It was
Yeah.
crazy. It's
That-
gotta be,
that's on our list too, is to check out Alaska.
I would love to go to Alaska.
Yeah.
Alaska's, yeah. It's just one of those things
feels
where
like a
you
different
think,
country.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a different country, but I don't know. Just going through customs and getting like a stamp on your passport. When you go to Alaska, you don't do that, so you're just
Unless you go
like,
through
ah.
Canada.
yeah.
unless I go through Canada. Yeah.
Have you been to
yeah.
BC, British Columbia?
I don't know what part of that is.
It's the
The
west.
furthest
The
west
furthest
part?
west. Yeah.
Yeah, then no. I've only been to Montreal for my layover.
Because you could do that. British Columbia is crazy, and then just
I would.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
You still get that passport stamp.
Yeah, I need to get some more deals closed before I leave for the country. And I just got back from
This guy's
Spain,
gone
like,
all the time, man.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, I was in Spain with my rugby team, and that was a freaking. 8 days of just being drunk. So I'm like still catching up from that trip. But yeah, no. So Greenland, that sounds exciting. Do you have like any? Like I think he was getting to.
What's the bucket list or what?
Crazy places you want to go?
I just like going to islands. I guess I'm more like
chill.
let's just go on the beach.
Yeah.
And stay in one spot. My wife is let's go out and adventure and like. Get lost.
There's a good balance though too, because I mean, you guys are very good. A lot of married couples or couples in general don't do this. Like you're okay with traveling solo and letting her do, not that you let her, but like she does her thing, you do your thing, and then you get together and you do a couple.
I try my best.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, it's a cool way because not everyone's gonna have the same, interest.
We like to get it, and it's something that going out and going to these different countries. I mean, you do learn a lot. So
for sure, yeah.
And it's fun to do, and as long as you don't have deals falling apart while you're on vacation and you got to get on email.
What I have Rory for.
That's a perfect segue into kind of like wrapping this whole thing up and putting a bow on it, because it kind of goes back to like setting boundaries and like having systems in place. Because there's times where I'll like shoot you a text and your voicemail or your email will be like, I'm out of the country, I'll be back now, or whenever. I'm like, oh, that's got to be so freeing, because I assume when you get all your ducks in a row that you can kind of like relax a little bit. You're not trying.
It's always, there's the real estate agent's curse, which is, that
the
person
same thing
that
with us.
we haven't talked to in a year or 2 years or whatever it is. All of a sudden you're, at the airport and their dream home just came out and they got to get approved, pre-approved all in 10 seconds. And I'm like, okay.
I didn't do a single loan in January. I got on the plane to leave for Vietnam in February. Rory did 4 deals for me while I was gone. I was struggling March, April, nothing. May, get on the plane to leave for Spain. Get like 4 more deals.
Yeah. I got to tell you, not that we're trying to end here, but the market has completely shifted. January, February, March, and even now it's completely different. So what are you seeing?
Because you do a lot of affiliate. What are you seeing?
I used to do a lot of buyers.
Yeah,
right? I was buyer heavy. Mm-hmm. This year I'm listing heavy, and I'm not even doing close to the numbers. I'm probably down 50% compared to last year. But January came and people just started postponing. Backing out of things, being more picky about
on the listing side, or is this
on the listing and buy side?
Both sides, yeah.
I didn't write a buy side contract for 4 months.
Yeah,
so I didn't even write an offer.
Wow.
And I was like, well, this is like crazy.
Yeah, I was like, man, maybe Alex hates me. Maybe I did.
No, there's just people are reaching out. What's going on? We're getting emails from title companies saying it's really slow. There's a shift. You can feel it, and then. We had this tariff stuff come in, and that just further killed things. So, I think people are just really, really stretched thin and have been.
And there's a lot of uncertainty too about where things are going. So,
and people go, maybe I'm going to rent, maybe whatever it is, right?
I think you just keep building your, foundation. I don't know when the house gets built because I've been building a foundation for 5 years, but like you build this huge foundation, and then hopefully. This can't get any slower, right? I wouldn't think it can get any slower. Come on, man.
But why would you do that?
But no, I'm sure it can. But it's like it's been like this thin for so long that, it either has to just continue to stay like this for the next couple years, and then a shift will happen, or something drastic happens and it just shifts, overnight, which I don't see happening. But
yeah, I try to really maintain the same activities that get me my business. Yeah, right. I'm still reaching out to people. It's harder to do when things aren't going well, but that's really what other option do you have? Just kind of throw in the towel, and then you're going to go work wherever.
If things are slow, you have time to kind of put the building blocks together, and it's like, if I were busy, maybe I wouldn't be doing, a weekly podcast or whatever, but it's like, all right, I have time to do it now. How do I build my business? How do I get in front of realtors? We say this all the time. Like, this podcast started because we couldn't go in the offices anymore and meet realtors. Because number one, you couldn't go in because of COVID. Number two, they weren't there. And then past COVID, people just got used to not going into an office. So this kind of pipeline of people we used to be able to meet are now sitting in your chair, So
Understood.
You just got to figure out how to adapt and stay in front of people. And then, like you said, if you get the base going and things turn, now all of a sudden you have 50 agents that are referring you business when you only had 20 a couple years ago. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Do you want to do a win?
Do you want to do a win? You got a win?
I have a win. You know what? Because it's we're talking about the shifts in the market. I'm going to tell you there's a form that I rarely used in the past. It was called a sales and settlement contingency.
Oh, okay.
I have a property under contract for a buyer that's moving up from Florida, who has not sold
Whoa.
their house yet. I don't know.
That's
if
nice to
you
see.
guys have, like, I mean,
Nah.
I was joking with the listing agent, and we were talking, and we were bringing up this form and which one to use, and like we had to look at it. It's been so long since I don't even know if I ever had to use one, because during COVID it was just, you know, and up to this point it was just over ask, how high can we go?
Yep.
Hope I don't have an appraisal issue. And you know, the market has shifted, right? A house was sitting on the market for a couple weeks and not getting a lot of activity, and
I've had like
it was perfect for my buyers.
I've had like 3 deals the past week with seller
credit.
seller credits.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh, seller credits have been happening.
Yeah.
Inspection items, and you know, you talked about Philly. I mean, if you do not get exactly what you want, and I'm talking, we get under ask. And this is when I'm representing the buyer. Obviously, I went over ask when I'm listing the property.
Yeah.
But, you know, under ask, almost 3 to 6% seller assist, and we're getting everything handled in inspections. Like, or we're just going to walk and go look at another property.
Yeah, Philly's loosened up a little bit.
Now.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
So
That's cool.
Yeah.
I just saw a sale and settlement contingency for the first time in a while on a deal that I have going on right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I know.
Those
How about
exist.
that?
It's
Yeah.
tough. Like that's where we're at. And that's, you know, the market is, it's changed a lot.
Yeah. I forgot where to look because I think the agreement of sale also kind of shifted around a little bit with these new terms. Like there's just one extra section, but the seller credit section got moved down a little bit.
Yep. That's so you
And
have
now
your
I got to like
commission,
look at where,
seller credit.
because
I know.
often don't have to
for
look
me,
at that.
I need to remember to put my commission in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And yeah, it's crazy.
And that's a whole another podcast.
Yep.
I have
Yeah, it
questions
is.
on, but
All right.
cool, man. Well,
Thanks so much.
thanks for
having
coming
me
in,
on.
man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Hopefully it shifts to a buyer's market soon.
Yeah.
Or at least evens out. That'd be nice.
Hopefully it does something. Anything.
Hopefully it does anything
Yeah, yeah.
that gets
Come to Philly. It's a
me
buyer's
talking with
market
you a
now.
little bit more. But I always appreciated your support and working with me. And I just like the way you do your business, and it's easy to work with you. So I appreciate it.
Cool.
So,
Thank you.
cool.
Awesome.
All right. Alex Penn, thank you. Happy Friday. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Happy Friday.
Drama in the mirror like yo, you Kusama had me turn into Muhammad to Buddha to Dalai Lama. If I was snatching shoulder bag.